Welcome back everybody. Today we're gonna play Gekko on Lotus. Today is day 39 of playing every agent on every map. Today we're having back-to-back Lotus and back-to-back initiators. Gekko is one of the probably most played initiators in the game because he is really fun to play, he has a lot of good util, and he also has a cast of a bunch of really cute animals that play with you. Other than that, he is probably the best agent to play plant or post-plant with, because he can defuse and plant pretty easily, and he is in general a pretty good initiator to use on his map. Recently I checked out some predictions on Social Blade, where Social Blade predicted I'm gonna have 1,000 subs in 92 days. I think we can get there faster, but for that I need your help. Just commenting if you have already subscribed helps a lot because it furthers my engagement and it gives the YouTube algorithm more reason to push out my videos. So a comment, a like, or even a sub if you haven't subbed already would help me out a lot. By the way, this 1v5 was gotten by a friend of mine in a recent ranked game, which I streamed live on Twitch, where you can also follow me. Thank you for your support, and back to the video now.
Seconds left.
Starting off with A-side defense. On A-side defense you have two options to take main. First option being you flash right here, and then you peek. Like this, the enemies that are coming in main are gonna get full flash and they have to go back, or they're gonna die to your team, or you yourself can kill them. The other option is a molly right at the beginning of the round. You throw from here, then you hold, you wait for them to come out. If they are not coming out, you can take the orb, and you get a free orb almost every round. This is pretty good because Gekko's ult, the Thrash, is a pretty good ult to retake a site. Gekko has also the option to play really defensively on this site by just standing right here, waiting for a couple of seconds. If he doesn't hear anything in A main, he can then flash up here, straight up, to get information over main. It should flash anyone in the main closer area, so if their people are around here, they are going to be flashed and you have the information on if there are people up here. This is also really good because you yourself are in a pretty safe spot. You can then hold main, wait for them to come in, even molly them out if they're coming in, to save more time for your team. Your molly is also really good on tree, because if you throw it right in the middle, it covers almost every spot in tree and does a lot of damage to the enemies if they're coming in. You can also use your wingman from the wall like this, combined with a flash, which together are pretty hard to shoot both, and they're gonna be either stunned or flash, or even both. This is really good if you know if somebody is already in tree, and you can then overwhelm those people, even if there's a couple of people in here. You'd always gotta be careful of people pushing main at the same time, because if you're standing here facing this direction, you have nobody to hold your back, and it can be that they are pushing there at the same moment you are trying to peek the people in tree. Other options are, if you are on a retake or if you're just trying to deny the plant, is to throw a molly like this, or a molly like this. Molly like this is default plant, is good for default plant bot right here and the walk in through main, and the molly back here is good for the plant right here, which is one of the stronger plants because it is pretty open, especially if you plant right here where I'm standing at the edge of the plant spot. It is open to main, it is open to tree, it is open to backside, and is also open to drop, and it's also open towards backside. So like that you can deny the plant, the really good plant that is right here. More on plants and good plant spots later. You can also use your molly on the retake. If you throw it right here, it covers the upper part here so that people have to drop down. Or you can even throw it all the way down to get anyone out of the spot right here, and you can then take the space right after and then combine that with a Gekko flash or even a wingman like this to clear out the close corners. Wingman is a really underrated info and space taking tool. Most people just use him to defuse and plant, but you can also use him to take certain, especially close quarters with a wingman, because his wingman closes almost all of the people, and if they are in a close spot, for example, even in heaven, if you don't know if there's anyone heaven, they're gonna be full stunned if wingman detects them, and you're gonna have a free time killing them. Something you can also do if the enemies decide to split B, and they smoke right here, always check if it is your smoke or the enemy smoke. You can get inside of the smoke, clear it out, and then flash out like this. Anyone in main is going to be full flashed, and the people that are going here are not going to be facing you, and they're going to be flashed as well. This is really good to peek out, get a kill, and then go back again. It is a little risky though, because at the same time you're flashing, there could be somebody walking into the smoke. But if you are here with a couple of people, this play is pretty good, and it's always good for a surprise and to throw the enemies off and make them scared of pushing certain spaces if there's smoke in front of it. Switching over towards B. On B, there isn't quite as much you can do. You can only molly main and do the same thing with a wingman. Just send him like this. If he detects somebody in main, he's gonna full stun them and you're gonna have a free kill, or you just stall them out for a longer amount of time. B is a pretty good site to retake though as a Gekko. Because firstly, you can ult from heaven. From either this corner right here, you just gotta be aware of breach aftershocks, so always have a teammate standing with you. Or if you see a breach throwing his aftershock, maybe get out of the ult, because you can get aftershock and you're a free kill for the breach. And then you can even go closer here. Then ult. Don't forget you don't have to press W, you can just press S and D to move side to side. And then clear out the site. You can use it to clear out front side. You can even use it to clear out right here in the cubby part. This is really good because Gekko's ult has a pretty huge radius if you pop it. And it detains almost anyone inside this cubby right here, or anyone playing close under here. To retake the site, you can then either use a wingman to take the space up here. Combined also with a flash. And if wingman doesn't walk out, and especially if he's in that corner right here, you have a free time retaking the wingman and then using him for the defuse. Other good things you can do is to throw a molly right here, because the molly is pretty big, it covers all the space down here, and they either gotta jump up here and are a free kill for you, or they gotta run away and they're a free kill for you as well. You can also use his molly through the spot up here to molly out anyone that is playing back here. This is also pretty good if you are on A and trying to retake B, to throw a flash through. It flashes anyone and it is really hard to shoot. You can also use that on a molly from here to deny the plant. If they are planting close, the same thing can also be done from ceiling by just throwing a wingman, even using a mosh like this one, or using a mosh even through these doors right here, or using a wingman like this combined with a flash. Like this, you're gonna flash everyone playing close, or you're even gonna stun the people playing close here on site, and retaking site should be a pretty easy task for you. You can also ult from back here. This one is riskier though, because people tend to push up here more of the times, and they might even push you while you're ulting, so just be aware that they can be close. Then clear out here, either clear out main or clear out cubby. And again, I showed it to you on my first Gekko video as well. Jump and then double click to pop his ult early. If you don't double click, his ult is just gonna fly farther and isn't quite as precise. Same thing also counts if you want to detain somebody that's higher up. If you pop it at the same time and somebody is playing up here, they're gonna be detained too, and they're gonna be a free kill for you. Let's say you're playing C. On C, one of the better known flashes is one like this one, where you stand here in the waterfall close, check so that you are between this and this in the middle around, and then flash straight up. Like this, you get information over people playing in mount. If they insta destroy the flash, you don't have information on how many, but if they don't destroy the flash, you're gonna flash them, and you know there's somebody in C mount. You can do that almost every 10 seconds because the recharge on a Dizzy Flash is 10 seconds. So like that, you have every 10 seconds you have information over mount. If they have really good timing and they would just walk in right in between those 10 seconds, they can get on site. But like that, you just get information over C without even peeking out. The same thing I showed you on A main can be done on C main if your teammate smokes C main close. You can then flash out and peek with a teammate. This is especially good if you have a duelist that has a movement ability, for example a Chet, Raze or Neon, or even a Yoru. This can be used to peek from two different angles. Somebody peeks close, the other person peeks out far, and you can then get a free kill and get out again. Another really good trick I found, especially while playing Killjoy, but it also works on a Gekko, is if the enemy have a Gekko ult or a Skydog or a Sova drone, they are most likely gonna drone from here. You can deny that ult or the drone by just throwing a Gekko mosh right here. Doing any damage to the person that is ulting will result in them cancelling their ult and maybe even dying. This is really good to get people out of their ult or drone, and it doesn't do quite a lot of damage, but like it is still pretty good to insta-cancel a drone and deny a lot of information. You also kind of stall out the other players that are coming into sight. You just gotta be aware in some elos, especially the lower you get, the people might be pushing in before the Gekko ult, so you might be caught with your mosh in your hand and you can't really do anything to defend yourself. Other good things you can do on a retake is a wingman like this one to clear out backside, and combine that with a flash like this one over him that flashes close here, flashes everyone in water and everyone close here too. You can also use a Gekko mosh like this one, where you throw it here, and it lands water and covers a big amount of space. It doesn't cover on top of here, but anyone being close down here is gonna get damaged. Or you can also use a molly like this one to clear out the corner close, this corner. Or even a molly like this one. It doesn't clear out on top of the boxes, but it clears out anyone below, and even on this small box right here. The top box doesn't get detected, but you force them into being on top of the box, and if you hear them, you can then just pre-fire them like this and get some free kills. Another really good wingman to clear out space is one like this, where you stand around here and aim around this spot right here. It clears out close here, and the wingman is in a pretty safe spot to take. You just gotta clear out the close spot here, maybe even use a flash to get wingman again, and you're pretty safe. Another really good thing on a Gekko is if you have your wingman, always try to send him on the spike as quickly as possible, because like that you force the enemies to use util, maybe even ults to clear him off the spike. But just remember, your wingman can be shot in 2 shots or 3, so he dies pretty quickly. Don't send him in alone. If your team is taking site and you already have taken the space where the spike is, you can use the wingman. If you haven't taken the space where the spike is, I don't recommend to just insta throw the wingman on it. Wait for your team to take a space first and then use the wingman. Like this, you put the enemies under time pressure and they tend to do worse decisions, and you can get some free kills off of that. Something that is also really good, if you have a teammate to smoke the spike, for example if it's planted right here or close here, you then set the wingman on top of the spike and you yourself hide in the smoke, just waiting for the enemies to either run in or try to spam them, and then you can spam back. Something that is also really strong, if you have cleared out site on C and you start defusing, is to go push with your team towards main with a flash or just even a molly, or just anything to distract them from the wingman defusing. Don't forget, there needs to be 1 person alive, so if you have 3 teammates that are pushing and all 3 die, play a little safer so your wingman can get the full defuse. Let's switch over towards attack. On attack, there's a couple of good things you can do. Firstly, as soon as the round starts, you can throw a flash either back here to flash anyone that is pushing, or if you have a teammate that is trying to go in really aggressively, for example a Raze with her ult or also a Neon with her ult, you can throw the flash even deeper towards the ulter and then run in behind, try to trade out the teammate that is going in really fast, because you as a Gekko are going to be 2nd or 3rd entry. You can then pick up your flash again and take the rest of site. You can also use Gekko's mollies to get people out of the copy space right here by throwing one like this one, or even throwing one like this one. Your molly is pretty big and they are gonna have a hard time getting out, and you can just hold them, wait for them to walk in and get some free kills. The same thing can also be done if you see somebody is trying to hide in this smoke. Right here, you just throw a molly that lands in the smoke and it covers every space, and you can then just spam into the smoke and get some free damage off of the people trying to get away. Or you can even throw one towards backside from right here to deny the people the space, to deny the enemies the space to take right here, to peek out and get some free kills, and you just kind of deny the enemies more space on the site. Just because you have spike and you have the wingman doesn't mean you only need to use him to plant the spike. You can also use him to take this spot right here. You can also combine that with a dizzy, throw like this, and then you flash anyone in tree or stun them in tree, and you can get some free kills off of that. It is never wrong to plant without wingman, because you kind of save on your abilities. So if you are in a 5v1, for example, don't use the wingman. I know it's practical, but you are saving 200 credits off of that. Let's say you decide to take side from tree. You can use a molly or a mosh backside right here in the drop area to push anyone out being in drop. Or you can also use one like this one, where you throw him backside, because your molly is pretty big. It covers all of backside and does a lot of damage to the people trying to get out. This is especially good if you have people coming from main at the same time and they are pushing towards backside. You and your teammates are pushing through tree towards backside, and anyone being in backside is either gonna die to your molly or die to your teammates while they are trying to run away from the molly. Another molly you can use, but it is quite hard to get to, is one like this one right here, to stop the people from pushing CT. The molly itself isn't hard, but getting it up so far without using the molly is more of the harder task. B is probably the simplest side you can take. You can either take B from main right here, as I'm going to show you, with a flash like this, or a wingman like this, stun anyone in main. And you can even use your flash to clear out the close spot right here, behind the boxes, by throwing a flash towards side like this. It also flashes anyone close here. If you see a flash going back, you can then just break through these boxes and get the free kill.
I got you.
The flash I just showed you can also be used to take side, and you can also send your wingman towards back here in the cubby part here on a link to stun anyone in the link area, and it is in general pretty good to take more space. You can then just plant and post plant either from main with your molly or somewhere on site with your wingman and your dizzy to take even more space, and maybe even push towards CT up here, or towards C link through here. Taking C is also pretty easy. You can take the mount area by throwing a flash like this one. This flash is most likely going to get shot after a couple of times of you using it, so you can mix it up by throwing a flash lower, by throwing a flash up here really high. There's always the risk of it getting stuck up here, or even in here, or up on these parts. But in general, just flashing main is always a really good idea, because your flash recharges pretty quickly, and it doesn't cost you anything because it is Gekko's signature ability. After you have taken main, you can use a mosh like this one towards backside to push anyone out from backside, or even use one towards CT, throwing it at this waterfall right here to stop anyone from playing behind the pillar here or walking out from CT. Or even a third one like this one to stop anyone from pushing out of waterfall. You can then go for the plant. And if you want to play on site, you can use a flash like this one to flash anyone trying to push you here, and the people trying to push you from here. And this flash is in general pretty good because it is hard to destroy for the people over here. You can also try to take even more space by throwing a flash here and taking the space off of this, or even taking the space with a wingman. Bonus segment! Welcome back to our bonus segment on how to plant on Lotus. On Lotus there's a couple of really good plant spots you should use. One being right here in this corner, which you can plant as a Gekko. It is pretty easy, you can throw the wingman from main. And if you plant right here, your team can play from main, from right here, which is a pretty safe spot, because usually you have somebody watching flank, and this door is not broken. Even if the door is broken, you can just have somebody playing in here and holding the people from trying to come out. And throwing mollies from here is pretty easy. Most of the times this space is going to be smoked, and you can just throw a molly around at this direction and you're going to do a lot of damage to them. The safest spot on site where you can plant is probably behind this box right here. People from main can't really see you, and it's kind of hard to spray you through. But it is also good as a post-plant spot, because if you have people in main, they can spam through these boxes. You're gonna see if you hit the head, so aim around right here, where the end of the Lotus leaves are, in the middle, to hit headshots. And if you hit somebody in the head, you can see the red thing go up, or if you have turned off the blood, you can see the yellow flash from getting a headshot. And probably the best spot you can plant as a Gekko is right here in this corner. You probably are wondering why this corner right here especially. I kind of teased it before, but this spot right here is open to so many spots, that's why it is the best one. You can play from backside, you can play from drop, you can even play from here in tree, or from main. This spot is really easy defendable, and you can also molly it from a couple of different spots. You can even molly it from heaven by throwing a molly like this, or like this. And these mollies are obviously not too hard to throw, and it is pretty easy to get the person off of the spike. And you're wondering why not in the open? If you plant at the wall, the circle the spike can have is pretty small. This is also true if you plant in a corner, then it's only going to be like a quarter of the circle. And if you plant all the way in the open, that diffuser has so many spots to play from. And it is in general a pretty bad plant, because most of the times if you just throw a smoke on it, you can fully stick the diffuse if you're diffusing in one of the corners. The best plant spot on B is probably this corner right here. There's a little known fact you can do, you can use about this corner. If you have a Sheriff or an Odin or just any heavy penetration weapon, for example also a Guardian or an Outlaw, if you plant in this corner, you can play from over here and just shoot through the corner right here. Not a lot of people know that you can shoot through this corner, but if they are diffusing right here somewhere, they're gonna take a lot of damage from you shooting through this corner. This is especially good if you're playing a Killjoy or a Cypher, which is lurking. And you can lurk through C. If there's nobody on C, you can then take this space right here and deny the diffuse from here. You can also deny the diffuse with a Killjoy molly in this corner right here. It also works on a Gekko molly, because if you throw the Gekko molly right here, it's going to do damage through the wall, and anyone playing close here trying to defuse is going to get damaged by your molly. Another good plant spot, but it is the safer option, is down here. Down here you are pretty hard to spot from any direction the players are coming from. And in general this is a pretty safe plant spot if you want to get a safe plant down here, because the people from up here can spam you or spam the wingman. And the people from here can't see you either. So this spot right here is probably the safest spot you can plant on this site. Switching over towards C. On C there's a couple of really interesting plants. The best plant you can get is one in this corner right here. Because again, there's only a quarter of the spike where they can defuse on. I mean, they can defuse on this edge right here, but it is pretty risky. And it can also be spammed from main, right here. You can see all of the spike spots somebody can defuse from. And also from CT, pretty good also from waterfall, from backside, or even from front side. This spot is by far the most open one, but also the riskiest one you can plant as. A little known thing is that you can go for a plant right here on a Gekko by just aiming around at the edge right here. But you kind of have to be careful though. If they have a Killjoy that has activated their mollies, your wingman is gonna die while walking in. So I don't recommend to go for the plant already this early. I recommend to take side first and then focus on the plant. The second best spot for a plant is right here. On this edge, if you face this direction while planting, the spike is going to be planted right here. It is kind of open from CT. By kind of open, I mean you can throw mollies right here pretty easily, and if they are diffusing in the front side, you can just spam them. But if they're diffusing all the way back here, it's going to be pretty hard for you to shoot them from CT. But you can spam through these walls right here to get a free kill. This is especially good if you have an Odin. Just spamming through here is going to do a lot of damage to anyone trying to defuse. You can obviously also shoot from the top of these boxes. It's pretty easy to kill the guy defusing. And you can also spam from main. The defuse is farther back right here, but you can see the head from the people defusing. This plant is safer to go for, but it is also a little worse than plant up here. But it is still by far the second best plant spot you can get. And the third and safest option is back here, all the way in this corner. If you plant back here, you don't have any space on site and you have to play on site. Right here I can also show you what I mean by the circle being smaller. Right here you only have a quarter of the circle showing. That's why it is really good to plant in corners, because there's less space where the enemies can defuse from. If you, let's say, plant it right here, it's going to be a half circle, so the people can defuse over here or over here, and you don't really know where to spam. A plant like this is really good if you have one direction you can spam from. There's not really as much space. The same thing as with this plant right here. And is in general a pretty good plant most of the times. But if you're getting an open plant, it is pretty hard for you to defuse. It's pretty hard for you to spam the people off of the spike. That would be it for this bonus segment. If I had to give Gekko a rating from S to F, I'd actually give him the A tier. He is a pretty good initiator to use on his map. He gets your team a lot of information, but he's also pretty good for defusing the spike, which is a pretty important thing since you're most likely going to be retaking at least one site every 2 or 3 rounds. He is also pretty good to take a main space, and he is in general one of the most versatile initiators you can use. That would be it for me. If you have any questions or suggestions on which agents I should play next and on which map, write them down in the comments. If you want to see something else Valorant related, write it down there as well. I'll take a look at it, and if I think I can add something really important to it or just something that might help you, I will do so. Other than that, don't forget to like and subscribe. Have a great rest of your day, and see you guys very soon. Bye!